What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we're going to be talking all about the Celebi quest in Pokemon Go, the global release, and everything you are going to have to do to get yourself a Celebi. There are going to be a couple of steps involved that will take a couple of days to complete, which is a little bit different than what we saw with Mew. So I want to go ahead and say that it will be a couple of days before anyone is actually able to complete these quests. Having said that, these texts are coming from Charles cracking into the network traffic, pulling the text out to at least show us the framework of what everything is going to be. So I want to go ahead and say that, and there will be a link in the description and the pinned comment in case you want to see it for yourself and if any of this gets updated. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the episode. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first step. By the way, I'm not going to be reading the Professor Willow text. If you want to, by all means, go ahead while I talk about it. But I'm specifically going to be focusing on the objectives and the rewards. So first things first, we have the objectives where you're going to have to power up a Pokemon 5 times. You can go ahead and use two different strategies in my mind. You can catch something extremely low that you don't really care about powering up because you can save a ton of Stardust this way. For instance, if you caught like a level 3, level 4 Pokemon, it's not going to cost a lot of Stardust. Or if you have a Pokemon that you want to power up, now is going to be the time. Up next, you've got Battle in a Gym 2 times and Battle in a Raid. That's definitely going to be self-explanatory. So the rewards are actually pretty significant. We're going to have 10 Pokeballs, 1 Charge TM, and 1 Super Incubator. So I'm very excited about the Charge TM and the Super Incubator. I definitely think that it's going to be a cool reward. So let's go ahead and take a look at step number 2. First things first, you're going to have to make 3 new friends. If this is a little bit daunting to you, use my comment section to actually send out your friend code. But just make sure that you are not accepting it until you make it to this step. So basically come back to the video, once you've completed step 1, go ahead and drop your friend code and everyone just go add, as many people as you can so that you can complete it. By all means, I don't care if you use my comment section, that's going to be an easy way to complete it. Up next is going to be Evolve an evolved grass type Pokemon. So if you, for instance, held on to something like a Bulbasaur, Shiny Bulbasaur from the Community Day, you could basically go ahead and evolve it into Ivysaur and then finally evolve it into Venusaur. Basically just get it to the final evolution is what it seems like it means by this. And then up next, catch a Pokemon 3 days in a row. Yeah, you heard that. That's the first time we've ever really seen something like that. But catching 3 Pokemon in a row, as far as 3 days are concerned. That means that it's going to at least take 3 days to be able to complete this quest just by the step number 2. So they are trying to add some longevity to it versus with Mew. It was just a total grind session and just basically how willing you were able to do it. So I kind of like that, but that's just going to be a little bit of a heads up. So I've definitely focused on something like a Pidgey, a Weedle, something like that, but that's definitely going to naturally happen as long as you're just kind of playing the game. Up next, you're going to just get the rewards of 1500 Stardust, 1 Sunstone, and 1 Premier Raid Pass. This is going to come in handy with the Sunstone because of a later step. Let's go ahead and get into step number 3. For step number 3, you're going to be glad that you held on to your Sunstone. The reason being is because we are going to have to evolve either a Gloom or a Sunkern in the process to go ahead and mark off one of the tasks on this list. But the second task is going to have to evolve a certain number of Pokemon using these different items. So if you are not sure how to obtain some of these items, you're either going to have to get them from 7-day streaks off of spinning a Pokestop. You can actually get them randomly from Pokestops, and then you can even get them from gifts. So make sure you are opening up a ton of things if you end up basically being short. I myself have held at least 5 of each, so I should be good to go. Let's go ahead and move on to step number 4. This is going to be pretty interesting considering we did just have Eevee Day just a couple of weeks ago. And that's going to be to evolve an Eevee into an Espeon during the day. And then nextly, you're going to have to walk 10 kilometers with Eevee as your buddy to earn a candy. So basically, you're going to already be doing this anyways. It's just trying to direct you into what you have to do with Espeon and make sure you evolve it during the day. And then also, it's going to be earn a gold Johto medal. Because of it being the Gen 2 kind of like event going on, that should be fairly easy to do. And if you've already completed this, then it will just automatically be done. For step number 5, apparently Professor Willow is having a little bit of deja vu because we're kind of going to have to do the same thing. Instead, we are going to have to evolve it into an Umbreon. So I hope that a lot of people held up some Eevees from the event and didn't just transfer a massive amount of them. Hopefully you have one though and you'll be able to knock this out. But basically, we're just doing the Espeon first, and then secondly in the next step, we're going to focus on the Umbreon. For step number 6, this is going to be a little bit of an expansion of what we saw previously, and that's going to be catch a Pokemon a certain amount of days in a row. More than likely, it's going to be more than what the previous streak was. So this means, once again, this extension is going to be pretty long versus the Mew. I've already said that before, but it is kind of an interesting outtake that Niantic has basically kind of looked at. Then up next, you're going to have to visit Pokestops a certain amount of days in a row. So this is something that initially was not involved, but now it is. This is the first time that we have actually seen this step. So it's more than likely going to line up with the number of Pokemon that we catch. So once again, make sure you are catching a Pidgey. That would be my best recommendation. And then finally, use a certain number of Pineapple Berries while catching Pokemon. This is a little bit of a trick, I think. This is going to be kind of introducing the new Platinum Berry that should be coming out in Pokemon Go soon. I don't know exactly when it would be, but I find it peculiar as to why the Pineapple Berry is being mentioned in the steps. Let's go ahead and get into step number 7. This is going to be something that a couple people actually pointed out, and it's going to kind of stem off of what we had to do at Chicago Fest, and that's going to be to catch a certain amount of Pokemon that are either grass or psychic type, so basically just line up with Celebi. We did see this at Chicago Fest of the different types. Initially I had to catch 10, but I noticed that the text actually said 20, so I would not be surprised if you actually had to catch 20, but we're really not going to know until people make it to this step, just because there are going to be so many days involved. As you will see for the final step, it is left blank, but that's actually not going to be a bad thing. The reason being is because we're going to have to be able to actually catch Celebi. I think the reason why this happened was because some people already have it, so it doesn't technically need to say to go in to actually get Celebi. I think at this point you're going to be able to get your rewards, and it's either going to say the encounter or it's not, depending on if you already have Celebi or not. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy this episode. Hopefully it was helpful. I definitely want to hear how your journey is going. I actually already have a Celebi from doing it from Chicago Fest, but with some of these rewards, I'm definitely going to be excited about it. I'm probably not going to actively be doing it, but hey, there's really not going to be a timeline to this. But anyways, if you did enjoy this episode, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Hit me like a tidal wave, triggered by the aftershock.